Hey friends, welcome back.
Hello.
Welcome back to the Kindness Advantage. I am your host, Cindy Rowe, and I have a special guest with me all the way from, I don't know, not far, not, not close to me. I believe she's from Texas.
Yes, I live in San Antonio. I'm from Illinois. I always correct that because I was born and raised in Illinois, but I do live in San Antonio, Texas.
Welcome to my show. Mindy, how are you?
I'm great. It's so good to be here.
I am honored to have you here. So, friends that are listening or watching, I met Mindy several years ago through our Speaker Sisters group, but we have remained connected through LinkedIn. And today, Mindy is going to share a little bit of her passion work. And yeah, Mindy, why don't you tell them what you speak about and what you're known for and
Yeah.
introduce yourself?
All right. Well, I am known as a networking expert, but I didn't start out that way. I have 30 years of experience in human resources leadership as an HR generalist, kind of all parts of the HR world. And I worked from some really cool companies like McDonald's and Disney and Gap and Old Navy. And 5 years ago, I started my own business.
That's awesome. So leaving corporate
Oh,
and going on your own.
yes,
I've
yes.
been
It's
there
not for the
too.
faint of heart.
Exactly. But I'm going on 10 years of being my own person,
Oh,
my own
you
boss.
should
It's
feel
been
so
great.
proud
Yeah.
because I just celebrated 5 years, and I found out that only 50% of businesses make it 5 years.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious to see what the tenure is. If it's
Yeah.
5 year, I mean, I'm sure that that percentage just goes down. Yeah, leaving corporate was a not as hard of a decision for me as I think it is for a lot of people. I felt personally burned out by the environment and the restraints, I guess. And now, as my own business owner, I feel like I have designed my business around what I do best and my life and my schedule. And I'm not going to say it's easy because I don't think it's easy at all. But I do like to work. And I've really designed the business that I like. So I do some HR consulting, keynote speaking, and corporate training. And I have a program called Networking School.
Cool. So now with the kindness advantage, we typically like to keep this, light on the kindness
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
And how do you approach networking with kindness?
Oh, I feel like I could talk for a long time about this. So let me give you the high level for both in person networking and um, virtual networking, because I truly believe modern day networking has a two-prong approach and you really can't just do one or you're leaving opportunities on the table. So with in-person networking, the way that I would say to approach it with a kindness perspective is to really go into it not thinking about what you can get out of the interaction. I think that's old school networking, to be honest, where we take our business cards and we say, I'm hoping to get this many leads before I leave. And if I don't, then maybe it wasn't a successful event. And that is just truly old school. What I love to tell people is that you should go into a networking event and try to be the most interested person in the room
Ah,
and
I like that.
really focus on not on you, focus on just having real conversations with people, because people remember how we make them feel
Hmm.
and less about our business. And I think also old school people used to try to qualify a lead before they left, right? Like, can I, is this the right person? And I just think that true relationships happen over time. You can't
Sure.
cram them. You just can't cram them. So going in saying, I want to be the most interested person in the room. I want to make people feel good. I want to make connections. And then that's kind of where the virtual networking comes in. And then, kindly follow up with them on LinkedIn, connect with them on LinkedIn. Ask one or two people for a virtual coffee afterwards so you can just learn more about them. I think networking, people used to think about it pitching all the time,
Right.
and nobody wants to be salesy.
Yeah.
And I think the best way that we can approach people is just through being interested and kind and relational. And then the benefits and the opportunities come over time.
Yeah, it's definitely not what's going to happen for me right
Yeah.
now. Like,
No.
and like I see it as serving. Like, how can I
Mhm.
serve
Oh,
here?
yeah.
So when I go to my networking events, that's really like I'm showing up for two reasons. One is because I work alone.
Yeah.
It gets very lonely. And so
Yes.
there for the social aspect. But the other one is like, who are the new faces and how can I serve them? Like,
Yes.
because I go to several networking events repeatedly, right? Like the
Mhm.
same
Mhm.
ones.
Yeah.
And you always see the same people. But if you see a new face, I of course want to catch up with my friends, but I'm like, there's a new face. Like, how can
Yeah.
I serve them? Because maybe this is their first time too.
Mhm.
And, I could be like, hey, I haven't seen your face here. Who are you? Or whatever. And having that approach, I think, it takes pressure off of myself too to like
Yes.
have my elevator pitch like perfect. Cause
Yes.
I know, but it's like then when we have those silly things, it's like I stumble and then I sound like a fool. So I'd much rather be more interested in them and,
Yeah.
like I feel like it just is a little bit more natural for me.
Yeah, and I think that it takes the pressure off of it because let's face it, networking has an ick factor. It
Yes.
just does, and it doesn't need to if we can do it authentically. And so I also love how you mentioned like inviting someone into your conversation or noticing that someone is new or maybe a guest because it takes a lot for people to go to in-person events and to introduce
Mhm.
themselves because of that ick factor, right? Because they're like, what if I fumble on my elevator pitch? What if I don't feel as qualified to be here as someone else? Maybe I'm an introvert, all the different things that can go through people's heads. So I really, really do recommend just welcoming people, even if it's not your event you're hosting, but welcoming people like you would welcome them into your home
Yeah,
and
that's
just
good.
really helping them feel comfortable. And that follow up message afterwards to them could be just as important so that they feel good. Because, when we naturally know that this topic can make people uneasy, anything we can do to help people feel better has long term benefits for everybody involved.
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny, as we were talking about, including other people that maybe
Mhm.
are new or maybe
Yeah.
standing by themselves. It's interesting because when I speak to the youth, I
Mhm.
always ask, like, what does kindness mean to you? And
Mhm.
they always, this is always like 99% of the time, the kids say, including others.
Oh,
And
that melts
I
my heart.
think, yeah, and I usually ask, like, well, what does that mean? And then like, well, if Mindy is sitting by herself, we invite
Mhm.
her over to our table to color with us or whatever, or
Yeah.
at the playground. And
Yeah.
I love that. And I say, like, so I share sometimes in my keynotes that as adults, we get too comfortable in our own circle
Mhm.
that we forget about including others and
Yeah.
to make them feel welcomed and encouraged to come back and seen.
Yeah.
And so that's a perfect example for networking. What a
It
great
really is.
way to approach somebody because they're going to see you differently anyway if you were the only one
Right.
brought them to the bigger group or
Yes.
even had a conversation with them, like, and they
Yes.
didn't feel, like, icky and weird
Yeah, and I
by
and
the
I
bar.
love I really love that you said that because I hadn't really thought about that perspective before of like intentional inclusion. I'm just a natural connector. So
Yeah.
I often will say to somebody, you're new. Oh, you're in real estate. You know what? let me introduce you to Cynthia, who's also in real estate,
Yeah.
right? And so taking that extra step to say, let me introduce you to another person takes the anxiety again away from them having to approach a different person. So I
Right.
think that's part of it. And then I think the other thing with networking is just making sure that you do remember people. And when you can make a connection, do it without any expectation that you're going to get anything out of it.
Right.
Just connecting people. So like if I actually had a friend recently say that she was looking for a personal stylist, and I was like, actually I know two, let me give you their numbers, right? And so trying to be a resource for people and helping them help guide them in the right direction, not only helps your friends who have the business, but also helps them know that there's trust there already.
Yeah, yeah. And I have connectors in my group, and I'm always like, I wish I could be like them. I wish I could be like them. Because they're like, you need to meet Cindy.
Yes.
You need, if you don't know her, you need to meet her. And
Yes.
and I'm thinking of one person in particular. He was always such a good connector.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, I always looked at him in awe, like,
Mm.
he's doing all this and, he's not benefiting from me right
Right,
now, but like
right.
he did it because he knew eventually it would come
Yeah,
back to him, just
yeah.
like kindness, like it's usually a
Right.
full circle, but you don't do it with
You
that
can't do
intention
it for that
in mind.
intent.
Right.
No, you really can't do it for that intent. And, I just finished a book called Givers and Takers by Adam Grant. And Adam is a professor, but he's really also known for his research. And the book's called Givers and Takers. And I'm a giver. I am. And I really am a natural connector. And it's funny to hear you say that you're not, because I would have assumed you are too. But
I think I just don't remember well enough.
yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
be I'm gonna blame it on my brain injury and
Yeah.
perimenopause, so
Okay. Well, in the book, he talks about how networking is one of the main ways we can be givers without expecting anything in return. And it's actually not a networking event book, but you'd be surprised how much he talks about networking in there, because in our adult lives, connecting people, helping people feel included, helping refer somebody who you've had a good experience with already. Those are just all natural ways that we can make the world a better place by being givers and not expecting anything in return.
Yeah, that's good. I'm gonna have to check that book out. So Givers and Takers by Adam Grant.
Yeah,
It's
he
on my
wrote
new
several
list.
other great books. Think Again is one of
Yeah,
them.
I think I have that one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it's funny because my husband read it first, and he said, he handed it to me and he said, "This is a networking book." And I was like, "It is?" And he's like, "I'm telling you, he talks about networking the whole time," but I had no idea. So,
That's cool. So for the introverts,
mhm,
and I talk about introversion here because kindness, sometimes doing an act of kindness is
mhm.
icky
Yeah.
because people are introverted and
Mhm.
it just does not come natural to
Yeah.
them. So introverts, and networking, like what's a tip that you can give them so it doesn't, that ick factor kind of is lowered a little bit? Like, is there
Yeah.
an entry level tip?
Yeah. So I have a couple, and I teach these inside my program, Networking School, in more detail. But I will tell you, the first one is really kind of ditching the elevator pitch and
Mhm.
not even trying to pitch anything. If we think about it, the elevator pitch is very old school. It was created because back in the day we didn't have internet and cell phones to continually keep in touch with people. So maybe I'm thinking the salespeople back then were like, I have this one opportunity to pitch and I have to do it quick. And this is my one chance, right? But that's not how it is anymore.
Right.
And so I actually say ditch the elevator pitch. And what I teach people instead is it's a one sentence called the known for statement.
Uh-huh.
And for me, it looks like I am an HR consultant who helps CEOs. Actually, let me say that again. Okay, I am an HR consultant who elevates the people side of the business so CEOs can spend their time scaling. And that's it, right? It's not, I want to be known for something. I don't want to pitch something.
Right.
And so when you think of that, did I say I'm a speaker? Did I say I'm a podcaster? Did I say all those things? I didn't, because people aren't going to remember everything, right?
Right.
You have to figure out what you want to be known for, say it clearly in one sentence, and then and what happens often is people will say, well, I do all these other things. And if I don't tell them I do all these other things, then they're not going to have any idea. And I say, it's just the first sentence of a conversation. It's
Yeah.
it. You can say the other things later, like, hey, do you listen to podcasts? And they might say yes. And I say, I have one, and you can talk about that, but you don't have to say every single thing in the beginning. So I think one of the best things for, honestly, the known for statement is going over very well with introverts and extroverts, because it's easy to remember and it takes the pitch away, right? And you're just introducing yourself clearly enough so that people can remember what you do and realize why they should care, right?
Yeah. Right.
So that's the first thing for introverts or anyone. The second thing is switching to be interested instead of interesting. So oftentimes introverts don't like the spotlight on them.
Right.
And so if we go in, and I always say this, before you get out of the car, look in the mirror and say, what am I going to say when I introduce myself? So a little bit of preparation, one sentence, and it's a fill in the blank sentence like Mad Lib. And then I say, think about like 2 or 3 questions you could ask, like, oh my gosh, traffic was bad today. Did you have traffic too? Like, you don't have to ask in-depth questions, right? Or Mother's Day, Mother's Day weekend's coming up this weekend. Are you doing anything special? Or, man, it's been so rainy lately, right? So just don't think you have to like sell something, pitch yourself, be awkward, really just think about, how can I be relational like I'm talking to a friend? And if I'm talking to somebody in a way that's just low, like yes, it sounds surface level, but if you're just meeting someone, why would you go into a deep conversation yet, right?
Right.
So I
Right.
think some of the best ways, if you're introverted, is to know what you're going to say when you walk in the door, and then just have a couple ideas of things you could talk about. You could even say, is this your first time at this event?
Exactly. I was going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you giving us permission to do the small talk?
I am actually. I am. That's so funny that you say that. I am actually giving you permission to do the small talk. We put so much pressure on our conversations at networking. And I just don't think that is natural to have
Right.
an in-depth conversation, or for me to pitch what I do. Like for someone, if I'm introducing myself, and also you can change your known for statement based on who's in the room. If I am at a conference next week, and I am at a conference next week, and there are going to be event planners and other speakers there, I'm not going to talk about my HR consulting, because
Right.
that's not appropriate for that audience. So next week, I'll say I'm a keynote speaker who teaches people how to network with confidence, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't have to go on and on and on. So yes, small talk is okay. And also, I love the virtual coffee after a networking event. So my personal goal after every single in-person event is to reach out to just one person and send them a DM and say, I loved meeting you. Or even if it's somebody I already know, like, we didn't get enough time to catch up. Here's my calendar link for a virtual coffee. I hope we can catch base soon. And it's just 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you can go deeper, but it's hard to expect a deep conversation when you're in a room full of people.
I like that goal too. And I will tell you why it relates to kindness, because the follow-up, not only did you have a brief conversation at a networking event, but now you're like validating that
Yeah.
you met each other, and that was like this seen, heard,
Yes.
felt type of thing.
Yes.
And chances are 95% of the other people that met that person is not following up with a genuine connection versus an inbox of, here's what I can do for
Yes.
you, like,
Yeah.
and
I will
people
tell you,
really,
I've 100% of the time someone says yes to that too.
yeah,
Because they're like, yeah, 30 minutes on the phone. Sure. I say, bring your coffee, your tea, whatever. But my other tip with the virtual follow-up like that is not to sell there either.
yeah, no,
Is just to keep being interested in the other person. And guess what? They're then going to ask you questions at some point in the conversation,
yeah,
right? So it's not like you can't talk about your business, but when you go in with the intent of selling or pitching,
mhm,
you are not going to get what you want because
right,
it's not how it works. And so what I find is people start saying, so Mindy, tell me more about networking school, or tell me more about what you speak about, right? And then that conversation feels so much better than
yeah,
me trying to say, I speak about this, don't you want to book me?
yeah,
Right?
or who do you know?
I
Right,
know. Who do you know? Who do you know that books conferences, right? So I really do believe that I say two things. Networking is visibility plus relationships equals opportunities. And
ah,
so if you're just visible, either online or in person, but you don't have the relationship piece, you don't have the trust to get the opportunities. And if you're not visible, but you have a good network of people you could count on if you called them, that's not going to work either because
right,
we live in such a hyper connected world that visibility keeps people top of mind. And otherwise you could have great relationships, but they're out of sight, out of mind if you choose not to go to events or if you choose not to be on LinkedIn. And so in like we really do live in just such a busy, hyper connected world. So for me, it's visibility plus relationships
yeah.
equals opportunities.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. I love that a lot. Now, I was thinking of a way I typically approach somebody, like if I'm at a new networking and
Mhm.
event, and maybe I don't know a lot of people. And for me, like how I'm framing this is when I go to speaking events and I'm one of
Yeah.
the speakers, and then
Yes.
you want us to attend like a cocktail hour or whatever.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I'm not in their industry and they don't, I'm not a familiar face unless they saw me on the
Yeah.
poster or something. But like, it's weird because there's a lot of like, I don't belong here, but I
Mhm.
need to be here. So
Yeah.
for me, like when I approach a cocktail table round or whatever,
Mhm.
I try to find somebody I can compliment.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And that, like, and again, that's an act of kindness, but it's
Mhm.
genuine. So like what I said, I find somebody that I want to compliment
Yeah.
versus, you know, maybe they have a really sharp suit on, or when I was at an event, there was somebody with like this funky hat and
Yeah.
like they were so proud. You could tell they were proud of it. And so I'm like, I'm going to approach that table, one, because that
Yeah.
person was a lot of fun. And two, I can compliment them on their hat. And there's probably a story behind the hat. This
Yes.
is an
Yes.
easy way to have a conversation. And then and then it's like, whew, I did
Yeah.
it, like,
Yeah, I did it. 'Cause it's
and
not
then
always
they're like, "Oh my
easy.
gosh, you're a speaker. Hey, did you know blah, blah, blah," or
Yeah.
"You what session is it? We gotta,"
We wanna go,
it
right? Yeah.
happens that way,
Yes.
but so that's how I, like, and
I
I
love it.
feel like I'm a introvert extrovert.
Me too. I'm on the line. Nobody believes me, but I really am. I'm right on the line.
I need a warm up.
Mhm.
And, I get intimidated very easily. Like,
Yeah.
again, like, when I go speak at these
Mhm.
events, and I know that I'm not part of the industry and I'm kind of feel like an outsider, that's when I feel most intimidated, where
Yeah.
some people will be like, "You should be, like, walking in the room with, like, 'Here
Yeah.
I am,' and I'm like, I'm not that
No.
person, and not yet anyway." My paycheck doesn't show that yet,
Cindy,
but
I'm not that person either, and I teach networking.
but
So,
I want
yeah.
to be seen as me,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
how can I be authentic and genuine, and me
Mhm.
slimy is I'm not a
Yeah.
slimy person to walk in like, "Look at me," and, like,
Yeah.
act as if that's not who I am, so that just helps me,
Mhm.
and I really do try to find somebody I can compliment, and sometimes it might be in the line for the free glass of wine that
Yeah,
I
the
get, but
food or something like that too.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not that person either, and, uh, I really I didn't realize this till was older, probably, that I really am more reserved in those situations. And I also do a little prep, right? I think, okay, I'm going down to the cocktail hour. I'm not going to know one person in the room. So one of the things I do, I love the complimenting idea. I think that's awesome. I start asking them, like, is this your first time here? Tell me more about the
Mhm.
organization. Where'd you travel in from? And then I feel like it kind of flows. But gosh, I just feel we put way too much pressure on ourselves to say the perfect thing. But when I'm talking to a new person anywhere in line, even at Target or something, I don't feel pressure to say, hey, I like your hat, or hey, uh, in anything, right? And so I think we just put so much pressure on ourselves with networking that
Mhm.
truly doesn't have to be there if
Yeah.
we know how to do it in an authentic way.
Yeah. And that it goes down to everything that I teach too. It
Mhm.
has to be authentic to you. Like
Yeah.
when you do an act of kindness, it has to be something from your heart. It has to be genuine to who you are.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it's not going to be, accepted well.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not going to go as well, even though you're doing something kind.
Yeah.
Might not People might see through it if it's not
Mhm.
a genuine action,
Yeah.
that you're doing. So, well, I want you to share a little bit more about this networking school. We're running close on time because
Yes.
we
Yes.
just are good chatters,
I
and
know we could
I
talk
love
all
it.
day. I said that
I know.
earlier. I could talk to you all day.
It's
Yeah,
great
so
though because I love the connection,
there
and
is
maybe
such a connection.
people don't realize that there is a connection. But yes, tell the listeners, viewers, all about your networking school and how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, sure. So, I have a human resources background, like I said, and a few years ago, people started saying you should teach about networking, and I was like, didn't see it, to be honest. So I was asked to speak about it, and I had to create the presentation. I've talked about so many things, but never that, and that snowballed. And I have 3 different keynotes, and the one that gets booked all the time is called Networking in a Hyper Connected World. And then I realized when I was talking that people didn't necessarily have something to do after that. So I created something called Networking School. It is a membership where people can practice in community and practice from their own home. And then also, because I have people in 12 states and 3 countries so
Oh,
far in the
awesome.
program. Yeah,
That's
we have 55.
incredible. Way to go.
Yeah, thank you. We have 55 people so far, and of all different backgrounds. Most of them are business owners or authors or speakers or something like that, but not everyone. But so the program is, like I said, it's an annual membership. You get the community aspect. There's also a full digital course in there for LinkedIn. So, how to set up your profile, what to post, how to comment, how to view your analytics, the whole thing. And then we do live trainings every month. Every month we have a variety of things. We have a 1 hour call on where to go and what to post this month, just so we keep keep it top of mind and
Cool.
help you plan. Then we have like a Friday follow up where people can come and co-work and just like put their head down and be like, I'm following up now, because everyone knows they need to follow up, but they don't take the time to do it. And then I have a live training every single month. And one more thing. Live LinkedIn audits every month.
Oh,
So also Q&A. So people can come and ask a question about networking in general, or they can say, hey, can you pull up my profile and tell me what you think? And so it's a pretty comprehensive program that covers both in-person networking as well as LinkedIn.
that's great. Is it a rolling calendar? Like they can join at any
You
time?
can join anytime. Yes, you can join anytime, and you have not missed out if you didn't join yet. It just started about 6 months ago, actually, um, and the content is set up in the program such that it follows my what's called a Remember Me roadmap. So at any point in time, you can start your in the roadmap.
Cool. Well, thank you for sharing that. And folks, don't worry if you didn't catch it all because it's in the show notes. So we'll put
Awesome.
all the details in the show notes, how you can connect with Mindy
Yeah.
on social and all of her goodies on the networking school. Thank you so much for your time and
You're
all
welcome.
the great tidbits so we can become the best networkers and be kind doing it.
Yes, there's kindness and networking really go hand in hand.
Kindness goes hand in hand with pretty much everything.
Doesn't it though? Doesn't
It's
it? It really
how you lead yourself is how you lead others.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you're wanting to meet like-minded people, you have
Mhm.
to lead with kindness, and that's who's going to be coming into your world. And same with
Absolutely.
networking. When you have the servant mindset,
Mhm.
and you are giving to
Yeah,
others so that they can be better. That's kindness. That's kindness.
that's
So,
it. That's right. Yeah.
well, thanks again, Mindy. I
You're
appreciate your
welcome.
time.
It was great being here.
And friends, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this guest presentation today. Mindy had joined us, and if this resonated with you, please share it with somebody. I mean, don't keep
Mhm.
the secret. That's not very kind. You got to share it. And also, if you have not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it when you do. Thank you again, and I'll end it how I end it always. Together, we create waves of change through kindness. Thanks for tuning in.